Hi guys. How's everyone? This is different for me because I am recording this with the back camera, so I can't see myself, which I don't think I've ever done. And I've tested this, so I'm pretty sure I've got, I think we're good. But it's weird. It's weird because I can't see anything. And I did it because I want you guys to actually be able to read what the cover of the book. I mean, like, I don't know. It probably wasn't necessary, but here we go. I've decided just to give a little review of a book. I bought a couple recently. This is the first one I bought now that I'm on a book buying spree. And where did I hear about this book? I know there was a place that I heard about it. It might have just been in like some forum or something. Um, but I heard about it, did a little bit of digging, and decided it's not a very well known, as far as I'm aware, not a super well known book that I've heard a lot about. So I was surprised to find it. It is by Paul Foster Case. So it's called Tarot Card Meanings Fundamentals by Paul Foster Case. And that is where I heard about it. Now I remember. Bennabelle Wen, in her book Holistic Tarot, talks about the case method that is used for readings, the beginning of doing a reading, basically. So when I heard about that, and she put her spin on it, I took a look at him, found out he wrote this book, that it was supposed to be an amazing book, bought it, and so far I'm loving it. So first things first, this book is for both beginner, intermediate, advanced, I would even say. It's great if you want to get started. It's great if you already know all about the tarot. But what it basically is it derives from a class for tarot that was taught by the, let's see if I get this right. I cannot say this. I should have looked up how to say this correctly. But it's like Rosicrucian Order of the Alpha Omega. So it was a tarot course, and this was their textbook. So if you are a person that likes to live or learn in like a classroom setting, wants something step by step by step, this book would be really good. I think it's really good even if you're not like that. But it is taught, it is written as if you're in the class. So you'll read things like this week and stuff like that because it was directed towards that kind of setting. So that's very interesting. So it is more of, I would say, an esoteric book because it derives from this order. Yeah. So one of the first things you start with is the pattern on the trestle board. This is the truth about self. And I'm not going to read it for you. It's very, very interesting. But he recommends writing this down multiple times until you have learned it by heart. And then reciting this in the morning and at night. And then he also recommends to spend at least 15 minutes a day devoted to your time with the keys. And the keys are the major arcana. So when you hear the Fool is 0, it's key 0. And then the Magician at 1, he is key 1. And that's something, I don't know why they call them keys for sure. My initial thought is, we're trying to unlock secrets. We're trying to gain enlightenment. That's what we're striving for. And these cards are all keys to that. So, am I right? I'll have to look it up afterwards. I don't know, but it sounds right. So yeah, he goes into what your studying habits should be because he's teaching a class, right? Then there was a little chapter on the symbology of numbers, which he did. I mean, it's a few pages, 4 total pages, 5. But he goes just in depth enough that it gives you a real good grasp on the 0 through 10. And I love that he included it in here because I believe personally that knowing at least 0 through 10 numerology is one of the very fundamentals, the foundations of learning the tarot and gaining a better understanding of the cards in the tarot. Using numerology to support what you already know, as additional meanings. It's a great thing to know. And it's really, if we can memorize 78 cards, we can memorize 10 different numbers that all make good sense. And then the rest, does he have anything at the end? I think so. But the majority of the book beyond that, yeah, the majority is going through the major arcana. So you can see this is a big book. It's a pretty thick book. I mean, kind of standard, but pretty big. It is a total of, let me tell you, 283 pages. And it's all major arcana. So if you're looking for anything minor arcana, it's not going to be in here. This is an in-depth study of the major arcana, which is super important. It is super important. They are major for a reason. So he really dives into all these cards. And what he does, we'll start with the Fool here, just in the Fool alone, there are 7 pages on just the first lesson of the Fool, because he does 2 different lessons, I think, on each major arcana. So 7 pages alone on the Fool, and he goes through a lot of the esoteric meanings, intuitive meanings. He uses, I think he uses the Kabbalah, Hebrew letters, all those sorts of things. So this is very in depth, very esoteric. So you're gonna, and why I said like it is good for a beginner, because he talks to you like you are learning these for the first time, and studying these and making them a part of your very soul is really what he's saying. You want to make these a part of your life, like you're really digging in here, and that can be good if you're a beginner and really want to dive in. I see this being very good as a starting point if you're willing to give that amount of time and have that much patience. If you're not that kind of beginner, like I don't think I was in the beginning, I don't think I would have handled this book very well at the very beginning of my tarot journey, because it is so in depth. So if you're not really wanting to dive in and spend a lot of time on individual cards, then save this book for more intermediate reading, I would say. I mean, he even goes into, the symbology in the cards, of course. The colors, he's big into the colors on the cards and what those mean. Because now, what he wants you to do after reading that lesson is to color your card. And you can order, I forget where, but I looked it up and it's easy to find. You can order a deck made specifically to go along with this book. There's a website, I wish I could tell you, but it's easy to find. And it's made specifically to go along with you learning this book. It was made for the classroom setting, where you have nothing but uncolored major arcana cards. And so after you read about the Fool, he then says, color the Fool. And he shows you what colors to use, how to color it, what order to color it in, so like you're gonna do, like, say all the red first, and you're gonna find the red on the, in the dress he's wearing, in the rose that he's holding. So you're to do every color one at a time, and then after you've done that, you go into more details of the symbolism. So second lesson. Each lesson, I think, is supposed to take you a week. And he even says if it takes longer than that, great. Take as much time as you need. But the idea is to read what he writes about the Fool daily, then to color it daily, and then after you've colored it, to read the second lesson on it, now that you have really engaged with the symbology and the colors in that symbology. So this is not for the faint of heart. And then he does that for every single major arcana. If you do not want to buy the deck, I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to color these because he gives them at the very beginning of every major. He gives you a black and white here that you can color yourself. I mean, it's not the best paper to color on. I think he recommends watercolors. That's what they use in their classroom setting. I happen to enjoy coloring, but with Prismacolor colored pencils. So that is what I will be using. And I'll upload those as I go. I really need to create an Instagram, right? But it will take me a week for each one. I'm one of those colors that takes like, I'll take like half an hour on just his face alone. Getting it perfect. So I'm excited to color these because I think they're going to turn out beautiful. Hopefully I don't mess it up. So yeah, I imagine by the time I get done with this, if I get done with this, because if you don't know me by now, I'm a big like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And the next day I'm like, oh God, it's too much. But if I get through it, I will definitely come out the other side knowing much, much, much more about the tarot, about the major arcana. And the deck that he uses, okay, is one that I believe, where did I see it was written? I believe it was a deck created, drawn specifically for this order as well. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. But each card, let's get an example here, is very Rider-Waite. Like, I mean, not entirely, but let's look at Temperance. I mean, it's almost Rider-Waite. I don't know that in the Rider-Waite you have this lion and this eagle. I should know that. It's funny what you don't know until you look at a card and you're like, well, I don't know. But yeah, you see you've got the Hebrew letter that associates with that card. And then they're a little bit different. So there's Temperance. We'll show you one more. Temperance continued. I mean, the Devil, a little bit off, but pretty spot on with Rider-Waite. So he really has taken the Rider-Waite and just done it maybe just a little bit differently in spots. And I just think that is great for a beginner as well. I'm a big fan of learning, oh, that's interesting, of learning the tarot with the Rider-Waite. I just think it's the easiest and most helpful. The cover art is done by V. Shane. Interesting, right? V. Shane. So very cool. So that's what you're going to get out of this book. At the very end, I mean, it goes to the very end. What is it? Supplement. A month of tarot practice. So he tells you, after you've completed all this, then you're to go through these meditations. And like the first day is keys 0 and 1. Second day is keys 2 and 3. And so then he has little meditations on each card to really reinforce everything you've learned. And that I imagine you can go through at any point in your life you want to as like a refresher, as a once a week you go through them just to balance out your life. There it is. It says $19.97. What a weird price, right? On the back, I think I got this for $15 or $16 on Amazon. You could probably get it used cheaper if you want to. But I wholeheartedly recommend it for anybody, as long as now that you know what it's about, you think that that is for you. It is certainly not going to be for everybody. But I think that there are a lot of us that will genuinely appreciate the connection I think that it can create with the major arcana cards if you're willing to give the energy, the time, and have the patience to do it. That is it. Tell me what you think. One, about my review, because I've never done a book review that I remember. Two, if you have it or have read it, let me know what you thought about it. And then if you do end up buying it or going through it down the road, let me know what you thought. Very interested. All right, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Take care. Bye-bye.